What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. It is currently Thursday, the weekend of Labor Day. I decided to take the next 2 days off just to kind of get stuff done around the house, take care of the car a little bit, and then also start a new project. The project today is actually going to be pretty cool. We're going to be trying to carbon overlay some trim pieces and eventually do my entire lip kit. I told you guys what the plan is, and today I'm going to start that project. But yeah, first we need to make sure that the piece of carbon overlay fabric that I have is the correct size for the piece that I want to do, and if it's not, we're going to decide something else that I want to try and do. I was trying not to do anything interior wise. This way I know, like, the piece I want to do is the plastic piece that sits in the engine bay. Right now nobody really sees my engine bay, so hopefully that piece would come out decent, obviously. But just in case I mess anything up, at least I don't really open my engine bay when I go to car shows, so it doesn't really matter. So hopefully the piece I have actually, it is a decent size piece. I'm hoping that this 152 centimeters length and it's 30 centimeters width. I think it's like 12 inches by 5 feet. So I'm hoping that the 12 inches is big enough for that tray, and if it's not, I guess I'm going to be doing another piece. So I'm going to go downstairs, measure this out, and we're going to go outside, and if it is the right size, we're going to go outside and start sanding it down and getting it prepped for this. So this is the carbon fiber fabric that I ordered. It looks relatively close to what's on the fenders. I believe it's the same kind of weave pattern. It might be a little bit different in like terms of color and etc. But it looks good. And based off of the sizing, and I started kind of trying to mess with it here, I believe, realistically, that this is going to work for this piece. And I didn't realize how complicated this piece actually looks. Let me unwind that and I'll show you what I mean. So this is what I mean, alright? So we got this little piece right here, it comes down, indents, got a little hole right there, it comes up right here, a little indent, a hole right there. Obviously this piece right here will cut out. You got this little hump right here, there's also a ledge, same thing here, a little ledge. I want to say the carbon, you probably, with how it's weaved, alright? When you stretch it over these pieces, it might sit right where you don't really notice that there is a gap between the weave. And I think ultimately that's what it's going to be there, but I don't know. This piece definitely is going to be one. It's gonna, I have this big issue where I end up picking out probably one of the harder pieces. Like obviously, okay, let me unlock my car. So if I was smart, okay, I would pick an interior piece like this. It's nice. It's easy. It's a nice and easy piece to pop on and off. It has a little bit of a hard edge right here, but I can probably get it in there just nice enough where it wouldn't look too bad. But that's interior, and you're 100% going to see this when you open up the car, when you touch it, etc. So as much as this would be an easier piece, hell, that would be an easier piece. Anything on the interior would probably be an easier piece. You know what I mean? This piece is definitely easier. So me starting with this piece, it's going to be interesting. So I am going to do it. That weave, that roll is definitely enough for this and then some. I'm going to hopefully get it in one shot. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a nice sanding real quick. And I don't think I have the alcohol, like the proper alcohol to clean this. So I think once I clean this off, I'm probably going to go get my hair cut, go to AutoZone, because I got to do an oil change on this. But yeah, so like I said, this isn't going to be a tutorial. Just want to give you guys a heads up. I am going to start trying this, and then eventually this comes out good and I start to figure it out, I'll do my own little like tutorial on how I did it, and this way you guys can try to recreate those steps in the long run. So I'm gonna sand this real quick and then we'll touch base when we leave. Hey little guy, are you wet? Sucks. Anyway, so we're gonna go back here. We're gonna look at this piece real quick. Got it nice and sanded. However, I don't have anything to really clean this off. And obviously, if I touch it, I'm probably gonna get some like dust residue on my hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of put this stuff to the back of the car. We're going to run out real quick, and I ended up just peeling this off. It goes over there. If I really want to put it on top of the carbon, I'll buy a new one. I don't think there's anything too important on it other than saying don't put your hand in the fan. And I think it might look weird if I put it on top of the carbon. Anyway, so I don't have anything to clean this off with, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take my coffee, I'm going to go get my hair cut, we're going to go to the AutoZone, and hopefully we'll be able to get everything we need to prep this surface for the epoxy, which I already have. So now we're going to take the coffee here, and we're going to hop in this to go get my hair cut. Also, I don't know if you guys will be able to hear that, but I have a little bit of a rattle in my exhaust. We're not really sure what it is. So, new exhaust? Something? I don't know. My cap blown? My resonator blown? I don't know! We're gonna figure that out in the future. Just over here, watching one of my favorite streamers, Tim the Tap Man, enjoying that stuff. He just moved over to YouTube, so good on him. Anyway, so I am back. This is what I ended up getting. It's mineral spirits. Supposedly it's really good for like degreasing automotive workshop tools, etc. I think that would be perfect for cleaning this up. So fingers crossed it works and it doesn't destroy the plastic like this other spray-on adhesive remover thing that I had. But yeah, so we moved to the back of the house because all the sun's coming to the front of the house and I just don't want to like die for the rest of the day. Anyway, let's get to move on. So I'm probably gonna clean this up. My car is horrendously dirty, so maybe while we're waiting for this to kind of get tacky a little bit, we'll clean the car while we're doing that. So yeah, so I made too much epoxy for the first coat, so we're gonna do some interior pieces as well, and hope to God it all comes out good. If not, then I'm gonna be very upset, and this is gonna be a waste of time and money and effort. Yeah, we'll see. Note to the future me. Don't mix so much epoxy, and have everything ready before you mix the epoxy. I mixed so much epoxy, put it down on the cooling plate, and I realized I had so much, I'm like, okay, let me go grab 2 more pieces and put it all down on together. I think I probably shouldn't have not taken the extra pieces, simply because by the time I went to start laying it, painting it onto the piece, at that point it was already starting to get tacky, and with the resin, or I guess with the epoxy, once it starts getting tacky, it's going to be very hard to put it down on anything for that matter. And on top of that, it was a little bit more of a pain. The epoxy was hard to lay down, and by the time I was done laying down the first layer on the cooling plate, at that point the epoxy was so tacky on the handles that it was very hard to like put down the epoxy. And I'm hoping the epoxy and the carbon are laying on top of each other perfectly. I had to throw away this much epoxy. Clearly mixed way too much. So this is what it looks like currently. This was also a very, very hard piece. Like those pieces, I probably should have started out with them. They were actually, even though it was very late with putting them on, you can kind of see where it's coming up in a couple areas. But realistically, I don't think with a couple more layers of epoxy, and being that these are so not looked at inside of a car, I don't think you'll ever will know. This is on here, and this is on here. It was very hard to get all of these ridges, and getting in here, like there's some, it's still bubbling up in some areas, like the fabric itself, because there's so many different, like, it comes up here, goes down here, but it doesn't come down in here, and this little dome right here, and realistically, is this going to come out 100%? No, you can kind of already see, I'm going to have to go wash my hands again, but you can see kind of where it's bubbling up, and I'm going to give it a minute or so, I'll let it kind of stick as much as it can, and then I'm going to go back over it. I'm doing everything with gloves, and I'm touching it, of course, now without gloves. the epoxy does come through the weave. So is the weave going to be straight and perfect like the fenders and the hood, hopefully, and the side skirts? Probably not. But like I said, this one, I wanted to try it on this piece, so I knew what I was doing, kind of. And this is a very, very tough piece. So I think if I can do this in a somewhat decent fashion, if I have something like this, which is like the rest of the trim, that should be easy. The lip kit, it's probably going to take a little bit. It's probably definitely going to be easier than this piece right here. It works for the most part. Can't wait to see the finished product. Alright guys, so it's officially the next day. Kind of interesting. It's kind of cloudy in some areas. It might come out with some of the sanding. The brush I used, definitely, I probably won't use it again. That, or I think it might actually be some of the the fiber weaves. I'll have to think of something better to do for the edges. The piece I did for this, obviously, it took up pretty much the entire thing, but there's definitely more slack on the bottom than there was up top. So next time I'll have to make sure that I place it better. These pieces definitely are better. I want to say on one, this side right here, it's not so much touching the plastic for the handrail, but we'll see what what it comes out to be, what it looks like. And I think this is on the passenger side, so yeah, whatever. Anyway, so here's what I gotta do this morning. I gotta sand this down. I have a bunch of different sandpaper. I got I'll try out. Not really try out, but you know what I mean. But yeah, so far so good. It looks decent. The weave isn't perfect, like the way it sits on there. It isn't exactly like square, straight, etc. But it is carbon, and I'll work with what I got, and that's not terribly bad for a first try at something like this. So yeah, I got a bunch of different sandpaper and stuff. I'm gonna take out and start using. Got my laptop out here, so because I'll probably be out here for a little bit. And then before I put down more, or not put down more, before I put down the next coat of epoxy, I'm gonna go get a different kind of brush, and hopefully that'll be better. There are some areas where clearly some more epoxy is in the other, and that's kind of, I guess, what you want to sand down. You want to make it nice and flat all the way across without going through the weave. Again, first try. It's not perfect. That's kind of why I wanted to do something like this, or a piece I didn't really care about too much. But this piece was definitely one of the harder pieces to do first. So, yeah, time to sand. So it's pretty much been all day. I've been out here literally sanding all day, and I'll show you the pieces for the door. They're right here, right over there. It looks all messed up because you do have to sand it down with one. I saw a recommendation was 120, so that's what I did. So 120 grit to do that. Now, I probably could have done this all in one shot, but I want to learn from my mistake, and when I do something that's going to be seen more often, I want that to be kind of better. I'm going to learn from my mistake over here. Anyway, so this is what I got, sanded it down, and this is the first layer of epoxy. Now you got to do all three layers at the same time. Obviously, letting it sit for a little bit and then adding another layer. So make sure, I just gotta make sure I had enough time to do it all in one shot. So that's the other reason I'm just gonna do the one. And like I said, realistically, how many people are actually gonna see this? Because how often do I actually open my engine bay? Not that much, not that often. So this is gonna look decent. So first attempt. The brush I have, I think this brush sucks for this. I'm gonna have to look up what exactly like a good brush is for epoxy. I just think the bristles are just so fine that I can't really explain it. Maybe a different brush when I do those. But yeah, not that bad, not that bad. And hopefully it comes out good. So I'm hopefully I will have all 3 layers done today, and I think once I'm done with all 3 layers, I have to let it sit. So I'm gonna me and the fiance are going away this weekend, so I'm gonna be able to let this sit for like 2 days. Um, and then on Monday, probably because I won't want to do it on Sunday, uh, it has to be sanded down and polished, wet sanded and polished with finer grit. Um, Sorry, I'm scratching my arm. Note to self for the future. I think the only reason why I don't feel like I inhaled a lot of fiber or the carbon fiber itself is because I'm outside. But I think when I do end up doing my entire lip kit, it's probably be done inside. I probably should wear a mask and long sleeves. I've been wearing short sleeves, and I feel like I just have fiber. I guess fiberglass would be the closest thing all over my arms, and I'm hoping it goes away between now and tomorrow. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna watch some Twitch. That's my go-to YouTuber Twitch, and I'm gonna on Twitch today, and sit here and give it this about an hour to sit, and then or about hour and 2 hours to sit, and then apply another layer, and hopefully that brush isn't solid and I can use it later. So I'm gonna sit here, have a snack, inhale regular oxygen for the rest of the afternoon, and then I'll touch base once I add the second layer. Layer 2 is on. Now, it does say to typically wait like 2 hours in between, and I want to say I probably waited about an hour, hour and a half, and I did the tackiness test, and it was starting to get like to the point where it wasn't super tacky, but it wasn't tacky at all, or so I'm hoping that I got it at the right time. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be 100% perfect, and like I said, at the end of the day, I also still have to wet sand. So I'm hoping that between the 3 layers that there is enough epoxy on there to wet sand, or I guess at that point they're probably going to be like 3.5, maybe 4 layers. Um, See that thing right there? It's just a bubble and I can't get it out. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be perfect. I don't expect it to be perfect. I'm going to do my best on this, and what I learned from this, I'll be able to fix for everything else, and then when I do decide to do my entire lip kit, this would be better. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool. And I think once I give it a nice wet sand and polish it, I think it'll be 100 times better. Good first try, I guess. Alright, everybody, so it's been a couple days since the last time we talked, and this is a little bit more interesting. I didn't expect this entire video to become about the entire process of me trying to figure out the carbon overlaying. It was just supposed to be like a regular day in the life, basically, and it ended up becoming for 2 days straight that I ended up working on this carbon piece. And did it come out perfect? I still have like certain things I got to do to it, and did it come out perfect? No. Did it come out bad? That's another no. Now, this isn't finished, like I said. I still have to sand a little bit more, give it a nice wet sand, and then once I'm done wet sanding, I gotta polish it fully. But I mean, is it perfect? It is. It's not, and I won't say that it is. It's a good first attempt. I know where I messed up in some areas. In other areas, this was just a huge learning curve. I still have to drill out all of the holes of where everything is supposed to be mounted, and I don't even have any of those pieces, so I'm not entirely too worried about it. Like I said, this piece isn't like it's not like this piece was supposed to be perfect. I knew it was going to be terrible, but yeah, I mean, realistically, off the bat, unless you guys really pause the video and see where all the errors are, you won't really be able to tell if there's anything wrong with it. It's a nice piece. I'll probably end up keeping it. I don't think I'm gonna end up sanding it all the way down and messing it up and trying again. But it worked for what I was trying to figure out. So obviously now we're coming down to the point of whether or not I'm gonna be doing this for the rest of the TC. yes, there are certain things I want to do to the TC, and to have this done professionally by somebody else is just going to be next to impossible when it comes down to pricing and etc. And realistically, is it a hard thing to do? Yes. Is it an easy thing to do? Kind of. Um, it might seem like I'm rambling, but it's one of those things where you kind of have to do it to understand, like, where it is complicated in some areas, in other areas it's like, okay, it's not terrible. One thing I am going is I'm going from a brush to a foam, like a foam brush, from like a regular bristle brush to a foam brush, just because I was looking it up, and the foam is definitely the better way to go. You can get foam rollers too that will probably help out, especially when we have a lot of like long flat surface areas. So you can get like kind of like an even coat. You can apply a nice even pressure all the way across. But yeah. I got that. Also, my throat is hurting a little bit, probably from all of the carbon fiber that I inhaled from when I was sanding. And well, I bought a respirator, so next time I do this, I'm definitely gonna be doing a respirator. And one thing I will say, this is, I probably won't be doing this over the winter. It will definitely be between this season and next season. I realize working in the basement to do this, maybe letting the epoxy, that's one thing, but sanding, it's just not good for anything. So just kind of standing outside, probably been doing that. Not sure when the lip kit's going to come off. I probably am going to take it off before the winter, just so I don't ruin the lip kit anymore, and I can kind of get it started. Because the lip kit is silver, I will have to paint it black, so this way nothing shows up underneath it. So like I said, this is definitely more of a learning curve, and definitely more of a trial and error until I can do the entire kit. I did order more carbon. Alex wants to do it to bits and pieces of the TL, so that's cool. And then I want to do the rest of the trim on the inside, so I did order more carbon, and I kind of ordered this stuff that hopefully I'll be able to do this better in the future. And trial and error at this point. But yeah, if you guys liked it, if you guys think I did a good job, let me know in the comments below. If you guys did this and know of any like tips or anything like that you can give me, let me know in the comments below. Especially, like I said, we're doing a lot with this, so the more I can pick up between now and the time I do like the stuff that like really matters. Not that the stuff I'm doing doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying. But yeah, it was a good day. If you have any tips, give me some tips in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next video, hopefully with Alex, and hopefully we'll have good news with it. So, catch you guys later.